Hey, everybody, it's Tony George along with Griffin Murphy right over there. We are here for the Gridiron six-pack, and we need a kick-ass week. I think we split 3-3 last week, if I'm not mistaken. Some big upsets in college football. A lot of rumblings in college football. The aftershocks of Penn State losing 2 games as double-digit favorites. We're going to talk about that one out of the gate with Griffin. Both of us are on fire with our premium picks. I cannot stress this enough. And we have a 10% discount for you today. And we're going to tell you about that in just a minute. Exclusive to Griffin and I over at the website. But we're going to get the freebies out for you. Kick some ass and take some names this week. Oh, I guess I should say, Griffin, how you doing?
Tony, I was waiting for it, man. Bring me in. I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. As we both talked about it prior to this show opening up, we have been kicking ass across the premium side of things over at the website. Comes to college football, I'm 13-4 across the entire season. NFL 9-5 combined, 22-9. So I'm absolutely rolling right now. Obviously, it's been low volume with hockey just starting, but hey, man, we got sports in action, middle of the week, Gridiron six-pack. We're almost to Saturday, man, the day we live for, so I'm happy to be here, Tony.
34 years of doing this, and my motto from day one, less is more. And Griffin and I have had numerous conversations. We both lived in Vegas. He's been here to Kansas City to see me numerous times. And as Master Yoda talks to young Skywalker, I've been telling him low volume works, and look at what it's done for you in football so far this year. You know, you spread it around in this climate, you're screwed.
Yep.
Now, everybody wants to, in our space, loves to sell picks.
Sure.
You know, there's a difference between selling picks and selling winners. Big difference. Telling you, just all of us sitting here watching the show, you know, drinking a beer, taking a piss over a fence post. That is the number one key in any sport. College football, NBA, college basketball coming up right around the corner. NBA, you'd rather be on one best bet than you would the entire board.
Yep.
Trust me. NHL, my NHL doesn't even start till this Thursday. It's been going on for like 9 days now. But now I've seen trends develop. We've seen some trends develop in football, especially in the NFL as of late. But let's get to the games, and let's get to maybe not the marquee game of the weekend, but probably the most interesting game of the weekend. And it's hard to believe that 3 weeks ago, Penn State was number 3 in the country and leading Oregon in overtime before they lost the game. Now they're minus the coach who's won over 80% of his games. They fired James Franklin. This was a team that was in the Final Four last year. This was a team, and bear in mind, guys like Griff and I, anybody on the website, Indian Cowboy, Craig Trapp, Scott Spreitzer, we don't look at the AP polls or the coaches poll because they're worthless. The BCS poll means nothing. Power ranking polls. There were very few respected handicappers that had Penn State no less than number 2 to start the season. Many of them number 1, including me. Now Drew Aller's gone for the year. They've lost their coach. The program's in a tailspin. You'll notice I'm wearing my Husker gear because they're going after my boy, Matt Rule. That's what I say to Penn State right there. You can't have – I know he played there in college. I know he's a Penn State boy. He's a Nebraska boy. Hands off. But nonetheless, they are going on the road at Iowa as a 3-point underdog, total 40, Griff. Iowa impressive in a 37-0 beatdown of Wisconsin in their last game. Yeah. We say it on this show all the time. 3 things you can always count on. death taxes, and Iowa has a good defense. And also bear in mind, while, Grunkmeyer gets a start for Penn State here, the only team that gave Indiana a game this year actually was Iowa as a 5-point loss in that game against Indiana. And we all saw what Cignetti did. By the way, he's not leaving Indiana for Penn State. They're just going to offer him more money. But I'm telling you, Indiana made a statement as maybe the top 4 or 5 team in the country, and Iowa had them on the ropes in that game. This is an interesting game, Griffin. I'm very interested to get your thoughts.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, the take with James Franklin going, and then obviously Drew Aller out for season with his leg. And looking at the new coaching vibes that could come into place. I mean, Matt Rule, I definitely would rule him out of the situation. His record is 2-23 against ranked opponents this in his career. Cignetti, hottest name in football right now with Indiana. I mean, this guy turned this team into an absolute dominating force. I love Matt Campbell going to Penn State. He's turned Iowa State into one of the toughest teams in football. He's very good at developing quarterbacks. Obviously, he had Purdy, he had Rocco.
It's your alma mater, Iowa State. You want to kick him out you want to send him out to Penn State?
I have no issue with it whatsoever, Tony. If that means Matt Campbell is taking strides to the upside, well, you know what? Good for him. He deserves it. But going into this game, we could talk about this matchup. So it goes hand in hand for me. Drew Aller being out for season, it brings tons of implications, but that obviously comes into play. Franklin lost his job with the coincide of Aller going out and them losing that matchup, which pretty much took them out of college football playoffs and Aller out. But I've said this years in, years out. I've never been high on this kid. I think he's an inconsistent quarterback. He's not really a gamer when it comes to the fourth quarter closing games out, and he's inconsistent. He's a turnover machine at times. And then rolling over to Iowa right now, yeah, they did beat the living piss out of Wisconsin last week in their most recent matchup. I've watched a lot of Wisconsin football this season. The one thing I will say about them, they're incredibly physical, but they fail to convert. They do not have the explosive plays, and that's why Wisconsin doesn't come up in the win column when that game enters fourth quarter clock ending. So for me, Iowa, they haven't presented any legitimate wins this season. They lost to Iowa State being one of their toughest matchups, and then they lost to Indiana, which they got beat up in that matchup. To remember looking at all of this with Franklin out, with new quarterback getting the start, this is all kind of white noise to me. As big of a situation as it is, I'm still not buying into it. This is a Penn State team that has every single outlet when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to the transfer portal, when it comes to talent versus talent. Penn State is by far the better team than Iowa. So in this game, I am selling the hype and I am buying the fear. I still believe we're going to see the same dominant Penn State team rolling into this matchup. I don't care that they're rolling into Iowa to play this matchup, catching 3 points. Give me Penn State plus the 3 points on the road in this one. Selling the hype, buying the fear. I like Penn here, Tony. But let's shift gears. Go ahead, Tony. Scary one. He didn't like it.
You know,
Let's shift gears.
I like the under 40. Though I've always liked Tennessee in the NFL this weekend. I always like taking teams as an underdog after their coach gets fired. It usually works out pretty good. But Iowa at home in front of Children's Mercy Hospital.
It just seems too easy. It just seems too easy.
I know it everybody. And everybody's betting the shit out of Iowa, and that line hasn't moved.
And that's another thing that kind of has me a little bit red flagged. But we'll shift gears here, Tony, because this is another game that I'm interested to hear your take on this. So we've got UConn rolling into Boston College. They're 4-2 on the season. Meanwhile, Boston College sits at 1-5 on the year. Boston College did just deal with Clemson last week and got throttled in that game in a 41-10 final. Now massive step down in class, laying 2 points here. So basically we have a pick'em situation with a very high total sitting at 58.5, which tells us points should be scored in this matchup. Tony, very interested to hear your take on this one.
Yeah, is it really a step down in class for Boston College? Because right now, just to put this in perspective for everybody watching, Boston College is one of the worst power-rated teams in Power 4 conferences. To give you another perspective, to lay that out for you, Oklahoma State and Boston College would be a hell of a ball game. That's coin flip. FYI. O'Brien's got a really young team. It's interesting. This is a battle of two teams. UConn off a bye week, I might add. Mm-hmm. The week before they went on the bye, they just beat the living dog piss out of Florida International 51-10. By the way, Florida International beat Western Kentucky, who was leading that conference last night as a 10-point underdog on Tuesday night. They beat them outright 25-9 as a 10-point dog, Florida. So that's the last person that UConn has seen. This is a battle between two ex-NFL head coaches in Jim Mora and Bill O'Brien. O'Brien had a good team last year, senior-laden team, couldn't beat Nebraska in the bowl game, and they just have not done anything. The one thing I wanted to bring up also was the fact that Boston College is 0-4 against the spread their last 4 games. Now, when you take a look at a coin flip ball game, who runs the ball better? Cam Edwards, the running back for UConn, is ranked number 9 in the country. Jim Mora always runs the football. I'm calling for the upset. Give me UConn plus the 2 in this game at home. Is it a step up in class for UConn a little bit? Yeah, it is. I'm not doubting that. But bear in mind, there's rumors and whispers out there that UConn, well, it's not a rumor, it's a fact. They're trying to get into the Big 12. Now, if they want to get into the Big 10 or the Big 12, they're lobbying both conferences. They'd be better off in the Big 12. But you need a win like this. They're sitting at 4-2. This would be a signature win for this program. This is a much bigger game for UConn with 2 weeks to prep than it is for Boston College. I'm taking UConn in the upset. In the SEC, and stay tuned because we're going to give you a 10% discount with 2 hot cappers. But in the SEC, Alabama at home taking on Tennessee. Alabama 7.5-point favorite, total 58. They're expecting some scoring. In my power ratings, I've got this Alabama at 89 and Tennessee at 81. So it's basically right on the number. And this is in Tuscaloosa. Alabama has had a meat grinder of a schedule the last 3 weeks. Big win over Georgia. Big win over Vandy. How big is that? Vandy's laying 2.5 to LSU this week.
Yeah.
For the first time in probably 50 years. And then you got a 3-point win at Missouri last week. The one thing that raised my eyebrows about this, and I'm going to hand the baton off to Griffin, Tennessee's defense is a concern. Their last 4 games, they've given up 31, 34, 24, and 44. Mm-hmm. Now, that does not travel well usually. Griff, your thoughts?
I mean, Tony, the biggest thing for me in this matchup, and it's kind of focusing in on Alabama. You know, they opened up their season going 0-1. They opened up against FSU and lost that game outright. And that caused massive speculation, massive hype, and massive conversation about the longevity of this Alabama team with Kalen DeBoer as the head coach. Since then, all this team has done is ascend to the upside and win across all cylinders. Kalen DeBoer, he's got a handle on this team now. They've won 5 straight matchups. He was also in conversation going over to Penn State. But if this guy continues to win, take his name right out of that conversation, as he will be the head coach for Alabama going forward. They've got massive wins, as you mentioned, beating Georgia, beating Vandy, who's way better than people expect. And then last week, they knocked off a perfect 5-0 Missouri team, and that was a phenomenal matchup. And I have to hand my cap off to Ty Simpson, quarterback for Alabama. This kid has only gotten better since getting the start for this team. He's got 16 touchdowns on the year with just 1 interception, over 1,600 yards in the air.
Yeah.
Very disciplined quarterback, elusive rocket launcher of an arm, and he's dual threat. He's not extremely fast on his feet, but he's by no means afraid to tuck it and run, and he can get this offense rolling. Tennessee, they come into this game on a heater as well, taking down Archie in their most recent matchup. But again, I'm going to crunch some numbers here for you guys. Looking at this right now, Tennessee, 5-8 or 5-13 against the spread versus Alabama since 2006. In their last 10 meetings, 4-6 against the spread against Alabama in their last 10 games. Bama this season, 3-0 against the spread at home, and they're a perfect 3-0-1 against the spread after a win this year. Nobody's going to have the balls to lay a touchdown with Alabama in this game, considering all the hype that I talked about going back to week 1. Everybody kind of got their opinions made about this Alabama team no longer being the Crimson Tide with Nick Saban. For me, that trickles in vulnerabilities and opportunity. For me in this situation, I believe the trend sustains. Alabama gives it to Tennessee at home in this matchup. I have no issue laying the wood because nobody else has the balls to do it. So, Tony, in this one, I am laying the 7.5 points with Alabama in this matchup. Tony?
Yeah, and consider that home field's worth 3 points here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you could get this off the hook, if you get late money coming in on Tennessee as we get, and we're taped. These are Wednesday lines, Wednesday morning lines, folks. They're going to change. If this doesn't, this was up, it opened up at 8.5 in some spots and dropped. So you had early Tennessee money. If you could somehow buy into something that Tennessee's going to go on the road with that quarterback and that defense and upend Alabama, good luck. The only thing that concerns me is attrition, because Alabama has played 3 really, really, really good football teams. And leaning back to the Penn State narrative, well, Bobby Petrino coached Arkansas last week against Tennessee, and Arkansas covered the number, but with a new coach. Just FYI, just throwing that out there as a little nugget. Another tip off I did want to throw out there for everybody. If this line does not shift under 7.5, my best recommendation to you guys would be to buy a point under that. So make it 6.5 so you don't have to win that touchdown, as well as consider throwing Alabama. And we talked about this, Tony. Consider throwing them in a teaser. I am not massive either when it comes to college football on teasers, but when you're talking about these marquee big games where these lines are very, very efficient, that is where the teaser can come into play on a situation like this. And it would be very valuable, I would say. But let's shift on gears. Let's get into the NFL. Interesting matchup here. We've got Miami rolling into Cleveland. Cleveland laying a number 3 points. Total sitting at 40.5. And Dillon Gabriel, he got his first start of his career, and I got to say, he looked awful. Gabriel went 29 for 52 passing, 221 yards in the air, 0 touchdowns, and 0 picks. The entire conversation with Cleveland this season has been the debacle at the quarterback spot. Now Gabriel, he gets his shot against one of the worst pass defenses in all football, a chance to prove himself. Tony, do you believe Gabriel can get it done for Cleveland in this matchup? Curious to hear your take on this one. Yeah, I do. I think Cleveland's the play here, 2.5, 3. Don't lay over 3. 40.5 would probably be a number you'd want to sneak under as well. If you're doing total teasers, tease this up to 46.5 and take the under as a one leg of it. I like doing total teasers. I don't put them out as much as I haven't put one out all year, but I bet them every weekend and hitting a high percentage of them. But if you can't run the football on the road in the NFL, you're screwed. Go look at the scores. Look at the box scores. Going back to week 1. Look at them. Look at them. Telling you. Number 1 run defense in the NFL. Forcing them to pass without Tyreek Hill. They're not near as scary to defend. You could put now you could do zone coverage or man coverage and not have to worry about a Tampa 2 zone where Hill's going to slip in there, catch the ball, and zip for 40 yards after the catch. So it's not that Waddle's a slouch, but Hill was a difference maker. You could defend him differently. They're not going to be able to run the football. And Tua, Mr. Myles Garrett's going to introduce himself to you numerous times. And in Miami's last game, they only got the quarterback one time defensively. Defensively, this is a game where Gabriel can shine. He really can. They're going to be able to run the ball. Play action pass is going to work. I'm taking Cleveland here to get it done over Miami, and Miami's head coach will be the next to go.
Agreed.
I'm surprised he didn't go last week, honestly. But nonetheless, let's get to what's really important, and that's making money. 10% off this week. Any football package from myself or Mr. Griffin Murphy. The code is Money Machine 10. You get 10% off any package, including a daily top pick package. And I will have a top pick in college football, potentially a game of the year. Now, we've hit back-to-back 6 and 7 unit plays each of the last 2 Saturdays, winning cards in college football, a 13-5 run in the NFL. 2 7-unit picks have hit the last 3 weeks for the NFL on a roll, coming off a Monday night winner with Atlanta. Folks, be sure, and when you go to the website, Griffin Murphy, Tony George, pull up our profile page, football packages. They're on the right with the NBA and NHL and everything else we're doing. But get a football package, get a weekend package, get 10% off. And on top of that, if you've never been a member, there's $60 more right above our heads. That's the link. There's also a tab on the website. We'll park $60 in any new account. It comes with a profit guarantee. And Griffin is dialed in. I'm dialed in. Buddy, we're kicking ass and taking names these top picks. We're hammering.
Hammering, Tony. I mean hammering. I forgot what losing feels like, and I don't miss it.
Got that right. Yeah, Houston Cougars last weekend, Pittsburgh Steelers 6 and 7 unit plays, fired up. Definitely going to have the 7 in college. Could be the big one. Mm-hmm. Could be the granddaddy of them all. It's Wednesday. I got to make sure the line stays.
Yeah.
There are key numbers we don't want to get involved with. We're betting numbers. We're not betting games. FYI. Switching gears back to the NFL. Griffin, your Chicago Bears got it done. Yeah. They got gifted a game on Monday night.
Thanks.
In a rainstorm. The quarterback to running back exchange got dropped with a wet football. And they were going down there to kick a field goal, make it a 5-point spread. But Chicago did what a good NFL team does on the road. When you're given an opportunity, you seize it. And they went down and scored off a turnover and won a ball game. This has got to leave a bitter taste in Washington's mouth. And they travel to their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys, who got beat down in Carolina. Carolina, different animal at home. We talked about this on Doc's Daily on Tuesday. Yeah. Carolina Panthers are unbeaten at home. That was not a shock that Dallas lost that game, especially as we talked about in college. Bad defenses don't travel well. Mm-hmm. And so when you go to Carolina with a bad defense, they can put up points. So that wasn't a shocker. And really, Chicago beating Washington wasn't a shocker. I think Washington's regressed a little bit this year. Bear in mind, this is a team that was in the NFC Championship last year and went to Detroit and beat Detroit like they weren't even in the frickin' stadium in Detroit. This was a good team. Daniel's a good quarterback. I don't know who's the better quarterback. Dak's still putting up impressive numbers when he's healthy. Yep. They're catching 1.5 points at home, total 55 in this game. They're expecting a track meet in Dallas. This is an interesting game, both of them coming off losses, Griff.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, going back to what you just stated in your most recent breakdown about we're betting on the number, not the game. Well, this is a perfect example of that. Dallas catching 1.5 at home here. We have a high total sitting at 55.5. That's already an incentive from the market that we're going to see a lot of points scored in this matchup. The books, they're also offering a pick 'em matchup with this being plus 1.5. So that's also baited as well. Dallas coming off a loss to Carolina in their most recent matchup, as Tony just mentioned. Carolina absolutely stout at home, unbeaten. And it was a good game, competitive 30-27 final. Regardless to who's Dallas has played this season, they have been an over machine. This team does score points offensively, and they've had no issues doing it against whatever defense they have played. For Washington, they're coming off of a letdown loss on primetime football Monday night. So everybody in their right minds is going to look at that matchup and believe, and immediately think to themselves, this is a revenge game. This is a bounce back game for Washington in this sequence. For me, I don't see it that way. This Washington team, as you just mentioned, Tony, they're a little bit of a debacle. They're definitely not the same team they were last year. You've had Mariota getting 2 to 3 starts this season. You've had Jaden Daniels getting starts over at the quarterback spot. This team is still a little bit of a mess. They're not solidified, and the quarterback spot is by far your most important position. And if you don't have your lead guy leading the charge for your team at least 5 consecutive matchups, and you're not getting good results the way the Washington Commanders are right now, there's still a liability in my eyes. I believe the public is going to be all over Washington in this matchup on that revenge spot. I like Dallas at home. They are also one of the toughest teams in football when playing at home. They've done it for years on end, and I believe they get it done coming into this matchup. So, Tony, in this matchup, I am taking the Dallas Cowboys plus 1.5 over the Washington Commanders at home, as I believe they will get this game done. So let's shift gears. My favorite segment of the entire show. We've got the Tony teaser, and we've got Minnesota involved and the Indianapolis Colts. Tony, talk to me.
Well, if you like Dallas, we could make it a 3-teamer. We could put Dallas at plus 7.5. Mm-hmm. You know, which is attractive since you like them. I kind of like the other side because I can't trust Dallas's defense, but they are a different animal at home, which makes it a no play for me from a premium standpoint. Mm-hmm. But you can throw Dallas in here. I like Minnesota against Philadelphia plus the 8. They're getting 2. It was 2.5. So there's some money straight up going on Philly or going on Minnesota. I like them. They get McCarthy back this week, it looks like.
Yeah.
Philly's defense secondary is big question mark. The Addison's kicking in with Jefferson. I think Philly's done a 4-2 record with smoke and mirrors. You look at some of their metrics that we look at, the handicap games, dude, they rank in the bottom half of the league in a lot of them. And they have not, to this point, even thought about running the friggin' football. I don't get it. The guy had 2,000 yards last year. That's what got you to the Super Bowl. It wasn't tush push. It wasn't throwing to A.J. Brown 20 times a game. It was running the football, moving the chains, methodically beating the shit out of people, physically wearing them down, and then just pounding the rock in the fourth quarter and just falling forward for 8 yards a carry, dropping back in pass or setting up for the run, dumping it over the middle, the Goddard. He's taking off running for 20 yards. You got where I don't know, Griff, why they abandoned that. I don't know.
It seems like it's the Jalen Hurts tuck and run game. That has been the biggest thing that I've seen all season long is Jalen Hurts is trying to do it all himself, and they're not utilizing their weapons. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's been lost in space, so I agree with you, Tony.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm taking the plus 8 and mini, and then this is the Weasel in the Woodpile line of the week. What in the hell are the L.A. Chargers doing laying 1.5 right now against Indy? Indy had a bad defensive showing last week. But I'll tell you, you and I talked about this with Lenny yesterday on Doc's Daily. The Cardinals are better without Murray at quarterback.
Yep.
And you saw that Jacoby Brissett did a hell of a job against, a Colts defense and a defensive line that really gets after the quarterback.
Yes. And
he was able to buy time, move around, make plays. Nonetheless, I don't see the Charger. They had trouble putting away Miami, dude. They still got injury issues on the offensive line. I'll take Indy plus the 1.5, add 6. There's your teaser. Vikings and Colts this weekend. Again, 10% off 2 hot cappers with a profit guarantee. Folks, get your Sharpie. Write it down in your girlfriend's rear end if you got to. Money Machine 10. Go to Doc Sports as a promo code box in any football package that Griffin Murphy or Tony George have on our profile pages. It'll automatically deduct 10% off. Put that $60 right there towards it. As well, if you've never been a member, we'll park $60 in a new account. Comes with profit guarantee, 0 hassles. We're not blowing smoke up your butt. Get over there, win some money. I'm going to have a 4-pack, Griff. On Saturday, there will be a top pick, at least a 7-unit play in college. I think 3 out of the last 4 weeks we hit a top play in college back-to-back. NFL, top pick as well, 3 or 4-pack, and we will have a Monday night pick. I want nothing to do with the Thursday game at all. Be sure and worry about the prop markets on the Thursdays and Mondays. That's where the money's at. Griff, I know you're hot. You're rolling. You're dialed in. Young gun, pulling out the gun, slinging, yanking the trigger. What's going on?
We're slinging it, Tony. That's for sure. We are on absolute fire. So I have not lost a college football game in 3 weeks. I'm currently on, I want to say, a 6-0 run this season.
What?
Football. Yeah, I haven't lost a game in 3 weeks.
You're texting me every pick. Text me every pick.
I got you. Well, as always, man. 13-4 on the college football season, 9-5 on NFL this year. Combined total of $5,520 in profit for going 22-9 combined. And I will say I've smacked 7 of my last 8 college football top plays, and I'm 4-0 in my last 4 football top plays when it comes to NFL, college football, going back-to-backs. I swept this weekend again, 7-1 in my last 8 plays, and I've hit 7 of 8 winning football weekends. I'm talking too much. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you guys know, the system stays the same. We're not changing a thing. I know a lot of you guys like to open up a ton of plays on Saturday and a ton of plays on Sunday. I'm not that type of guy. I play very small in football, as Tony and I mentioned, or Tony talked about it earlier on the show. I am very elusive on that. I cherry pick my football selections. If I put 3 plays out on Saturday, that's realistically me looking for a 66% win total over the variety of the entire season. I find it easier trying to go 2-0, banging 2 winners and ending the day on that. I kick off a noon game as well as a 2:30 game. So on Saturday, same routine. 2 plays will be released. I have a 7-unit best bet. That play goes off at noon. That will roll into Sunday. There will be 2 plays as well. Already have them circled up, highlighted, and banged out. 6-unit best bet at 1 p.m., as well as I have a 3-unit best bet and the later games that roll in right after that. So we're rolling right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have been smacking up and down the field, left and right. Top plays have been banging. Season has been banging. And yeah, looking forward to another huge weekend, Tony. So let's keep it rolling. Momentum's hot.
Not blowing smoke up your ass. Everything we just told you was a fact. Money Machine 10's your discount. Doc Sports is where you need to be. Thanks for tuning in.